Yeah, I'll talk to you.
Awesome.
It's like not a big deal. Um, okay, so don't worry
Very
about
cool.
it. This thing just goes, and it's not a big deal.
Okay.
Okay.
Uh,
You have to get used to this.
Hi.
Or you
I'm
can just look
Olivia
at me.
Go.
You just
Okay.
talk to me. Yeah, don't
Okay.
worry about the camera.
I'm Olivia Go, and right now I am food styling with Claudia Bianca and Flo Leung for a new CBC cooking show that's coming up. Probably going to be airing in January, February of 2010. So the way I got into cooking, I started off in New York at the Natural Gourmet. No, we're okay. Thank you. Yeah. We started out. Okay, so basically, I went to New York and I went to school at the Natural Gourmet School of Culinary Arts and Health, or other way around, but it's the Natural Gourmet. Because it was the only health supportive cooking school that is in North America, actually maybe in the world, and I really respect what they had to offer. So I went there being vegan, wanting to learn how to learn the basics of cooking so that I could actually work in a restaurant. So when I got there, I went through the whole program, the chef's program, and then they started talking about food and the industry, so I started actually eating meat, or like being more open to it, but choosing consciously like how to eat the way I want to, or like, you know what I mean, without while sticking to my ethics, I guess, or principles. And then at the time I was really strict vegan. So then I started doing internships. So I went to Pure Food and Wine. I did a lot of catering and stuff like that, and I worked like as private chef, and I did a lot of stuff with a lot of rich people out there. It's kind of like beyond what I would have imagined, like how rich people can be and how much they spend on food and stuff like that. But anyway, whole other world. I think I'm kind of rambling right now.
It's okay.
All right,
I can edit. Doesn't even matter.
Okay.
We're just having a conversation.
Okay. So then, I got all these, like, ultimately, before I left New York, what I really wanted to do was do an internship at Per Se. Like, I already did an internship at Pure Food and Wine, which is...
And what's per se?
Oh, yeah, okay. Okay, first, I wanted to work at the best restaurants, right? First, the vegetarian restaurant, which is Pure Food and Wine. They are like a fine dining, amazing, raw food place. I got that over with in a month, and I was like, I need something more because there's a lot of dehydrating and all that stuff. I need like actual cooking. So in Pure Food and Wine, Per Se is Chef Thomas Keller's place in New York. He owns the French Laundry in Napa Valley. He's known for his cookbook, the French Laundry cookbook, and I think it's opened a lot of people's minds to basic cooking and doing it properly, and having a respect for your most basic ingredients, like your herbs and things like that, and how to properly take care of them and make really beautiful, elaborate things out of the most simple things. So his cookbook, I know, has really affected many chefs throughout the world. And I knew about this cookbook, and I knew that he had a restaurant in New York, and that our school, my only way into getting into this place, was like stepping foot into this place, was to do an internship there. So I basically went there, worked for 4 months for free, and I did 17 hours a day. It took me like an hour to commute there and an hour back. I never slept. It was like the shock of my life. It changed the way I live, basically, or look at life generally. But that was really like the breakthrough in like my choice, like the breakthrough of my career, and my decisions from then on. Basically, as an intern, you work different stations at first. You work, and they kind of suss out like who you might be helpful to. You'll work at the meat station, veg station, and all that stuff. Their final test for you is to do herbs for the pass. So you have to pick all the herbs that everyone needs for garnishing, but also have everything ready, like chives, shallots, parsley, all the little end things that they'll have, like all the garnishes for service. But you have to have it perfect, and they're relying on you for this, right? So, one thing that caused trouble for me that I couldn't really get done in time was slicing chives beautifully. Sounds so simple, but basically you need a really, really sharp knife just to do this. And the place that I knew to turn to was a store called Korin. It's a Japanese knife store. It's run by a Japanese woman and man who came to New York and started like a high-end ceramics, like cutlery kind of place, or like, you know, tableware. And then the man, Chihiro Sugai, he decided to learn how to make knives. And so he went back and forth between Tokyo and New York. And right now he sells his own line of knives, Korin. And he also offers all the like top knives in Japan and sells them from his shop. He keeps like importing them, and also offers sharpening classes. So because I needed my knife to be sharpened in a certain way to cut these chives, I became obsessed with it, that I finally got it right, that I could actually do this one task and not get in any bind and like have like, you know, bruised chives, or like, you know what I mean, like it just, anyway, it was really important that I got these chives right. So I would keep going to Korin, and he would keep teaching me the Japanese way of sharpening knives properly, or my specific knife anyway. And one day he finally said, "This knife is very nice," and he started giving me tips on how to improve my sharpening. Of course, there are like small 15-minute segments, so I'd keep signing up as a different person, but I think he caught on. So eventually, though, I felt really confident about it, and just from then on, my love for actual sharp knives and knowing that like every little detail is really important to what you're cutting and all that stuff has grown at this point. Like I went to Japan and checked out the market, looked at like the different knives that they sell there. You know, I think it's like, it's a really specialized kind of art that's actually dying. I think the biggest complaint right now is that there aren't enough young people who are into that, like who actually want to dedicate their lives to making knives. So because it's so much, there's so much put into one of them. There's a lot of like workmanship and skill.
So what do you do now, like to help out with knives in Toronto?
Right now, I think to kind of stick with this, like I think the most essential thing in a kitchen is having a sharp knife. It's not only safe, because then your knife doesn't slip off your food, you don't cut yourself, but it also preserves your ingredients. Like it preserves it in a whole way where you won't ruin it, you won't bruise it, you're actually slicing it with a razor sharp knife as opposed to ripping or tearing different like fibers or whatever it may be, like your meat or your herbs. Like herbs are a really good way to know whether or not your knife is sharp enough to cut through, just like how I learned through my chives. So right now I'm teaching at the Good Egg how to cut things. I'm basic knife skills, because a lot of people, they might want to learn how to make elaborate foods, but they don't know how to cut things safely. And so I'm trying to build a foundation for home cooks and things.
Great. And so when's your class?
They're usually my class
Yeah.
Sunday from 6:30 until 8:30. I think they're all booked right now for the time being until January. And they used to be on Monday nights. It got too late. That's it, yeah.
Great. That's awesome.
I was trying to like be informative. I couldn't